I wanted to share this really cool image with you guys and talk a little bit about the asteroid or whatever that has been in the news. I'm not going to share any news articles or clips, just talk about it in general. But look how cool this is. Somebody posted this about the reflection on their detergent bottle looking exactly like Saturn. Look how cool that is. That is pretty cool. And that got me thinking about how that looks like how I would imagine the firmament is a transparent dome over Earth. So maybe Saturn has to do with some sort of whatever is happening here with the reflection going on, and just ideas of reflections and projections. The way that it's like an image projected up on a flat wall that's dark is so interesting. And yeah, the moon is a hologram. It's similar to how that's a hologram, the image on the wall. And I think in a similar way, the sun and the moon, we're seeing we're seeing an image that's reflected through the firmament. Like when you use a pair of binoculars, you're actually looking at a hologram. You're looking at an image that's being projected close to your eyes. And yeah, so this was just very interesting to me. And what it reminded me of too, the way that this looks like plasma, and the bands on it too, because not only do you have the rings, but it almost looks like it has the bands and some bright spots, and reminds me very much of pictures that, CGI pictures that they give us of uh, Uranus or Neptune have this kind of vibe. And sometimes they look fuzzy. They look like lenses that are kind of out of focus a little bit. And yeah, I think that all the stuff in the heavens has to do with optics. And let's just go through, see what pictures I have. The moon, I think that the moon does have a reflection. It looks like the moon has the continents on it. I think that that is true. And something with reflection, again, the idea of reflections happening, and that even might be an as above so below thing. The moon is an above reflection representation of Earth, something that's below. And another thing I've been thinking about recently with the moon is how NASA talks about it rusting. I've made a video in the past how this is biblical. The Bible talks about the moon turning into blood. And I think that that has to do with how NASA's talking about the moon rusting. And it's a metal. I think that that's actually kind of a hint. If it's dirt, I've never seen like dirt rust, but metal certainly rusts. And I mean, I guess if dirt has enough metal in it, it can be rusted. But you know what I'm saying. When you think of what NASA tells us the moon is made out of, you don't think of that sort of rocky surface as like rusting. But if it's metal, that would make sense to rust. And a good thing that people have brought up before is that it's not impact craters on the moon. And notice here that it looks similar but different to an impact crater. Impact craters, you expect that it wouldn't be like a flat circle. Where's the crater part? It's like there's just these flat zones on the moon, and it has to do with this corrosion, pitting. This is just something that I think about how the moon, that it's one of those things that somebody just wrote in the comments somewhere ages ago, and it clicked with me. Somebody was like, "Oh, the moon, it's not impact craters, it's corrosion." And then my mind goes to waters above and people talking about the system all being one giant battery. Is the moon a cathode or the anode? I don't know. You let me know in the comments which is the one of them corrodes, the anode or the cathode. So that would be the obvious choice for the moon, would be the one that corrodes. And an interesting thing about those batteries is that you need a salt water involved. And if you read Genesis, and if you've seen the images of stars zoomed in really close, and it looks like light, like the light shining through a crystal dancing on the bottom of a pool. Or maybe you've looked at videos or images of the moon, and it appears like you're looking through water. And then the excuse of that is they'll say, well, it's the air. Air is a liquid, so it acts like looking through a liquid when you look through air, which is probably technically true to a certain extent, but it's undeniable, I believe, that it appears as if water's up there. And what do you know? The Bible talks about that there's waters above. I have a website and I talk about outer space stuff. I should do more. I should update my website. It's just, man, life goes by so fast these days. Got burnout, and I would like to do all the things, but, you know, I also would like to stay sane and rest. Anyways, this is from my website. The following images were taken through a microscope. Notice that you can even get things like moon phases. What they would tell us are moon phases and give us some cartoon explanation of, that can happen when you're using lenses. So like with the microscope, and I remember this too from school, using microscopes, and every once in a while I would be like, oh, this looks like a planet or something. And yeah, imagine what they tell us is like something huge really far away. Maybe Jupiter is really like we're seeing some microscopic image, but just being blown up big, and who knows? Because these certainly look very much like what they tell us are planets or moons. These are binocular images. This one's cool because you can really tell it's just a lake, but then you see the whole. The one on the right could be straight out of NASA. How would you know? It's actually an image through binoculars. Those are just from my website. Plato's Cave, it really is an allegory that serves the, you can put the whole NASA outer space reality here. Most people live their lives totally deceived by the NASA outer space reality. And the real world is when you stop looking at the little shadow puppets on the wall, that the cartoons and things that people have been shoving in your brain your whole life. There really is a real world out there outside of that. But you got to think for yourself. You got to start to question everything that has been taught. You got to actually go outside and look at things with your eyeballs instead of just looking at screens with CGI images. And it takes some personal responsibility to seek the truth. That is it. Oh, I guess I didn't ramble about the asteroid. I mean, you shouldn't be scared. And I'm gonna title this video something about that, because it's fear-based mind control. If you're afraid of something, you believe in it. And so they make a lot of outer space stuff spooky. But then they like toy with people. They'll send out some spook stories, but then, you know, pull it back. Oh, just joking. It's not going to hit. And yep, it's just fear-based mind control. Nobody's going to die from a meteor. It's not going to destroy Earth. They got their web. They like to mix and match their hoaxes. So the meteor hoax is involved with the dino thing, both hoaxes. And in my opinion, anything that they'll claim is a meteor coming from outer space, I don't think that we're going in or going out of the firmament. I don't think that it's opening or closing. It opened during Noah's flood, so go and read that. That doesn't make any sense with NASA Outer Space Land. But when you have waters above, when you have an understanding of biblical cosmology, and you just read the Bible for what it says, the windows on high will open up. There's waters up there. And it's going to happen again in end times. The sky is going to open up. I think that there's really interesting implications there with, like, it's the birthing waters. When the sky opens up like a scroll, I think the waters above are going to have to come crashing down. I think they'll say, now I'm just telling you what I think the end times are going to be like with the outer space stuff. I think they'll probably say they're shooting comets at us. And then if they do any strategic bombing, which they probably will, I imagine that the end is going to be a big fireworks show for sure. And they have all the militaries. I mean, may as well do something with it. And there are some like meteor events out there, mostly in Russia. I think those are just missiles. I think they're just shooting missiles. It's just, I think it's military, and they're gonna say it's a rocket. So to go back to the sky is gonna open like a scroll in the end. The sun is gonna go dark. I think they're gonna blame all of these things on aliens. They're going to see the aliens are shooting comets at us to explain away the water that comes crashing down when the firmament opens up. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. Nothing about the end times really explains water coming down, but I imagine that will happen. But also, it seems like weird things are going on with the firmament coming down closer to us, so I'm not 100% on that. It's just an interesting thought that I have. But what I do know is that the NWO, those in control, the mind control program, the Plato cave that they've created for society is within the outer space reality. And so they're going to use that. And Project Bluebeam, all the drones we have going on. And in the news, it's just been incredible, the amount of, oh, UFO disclosure, blah, 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 blah. None of that, all of that is a deception. And if you knew about the big deception that, oh, all of that NASA outer space stuff is fake, and the Bible clearly explains where we really live. To get to the asteroid thing, nobody should be afraid of them because they're not real. And anything NASA could say, there's a 99%. I do believe that they could launch crazy psyops and start blowing things up. But it's not a rock from outer space. That is false. There are no aliens. Anything that they claim as a UFO is just military technology, and they are possibly dealing with fallen angels. Sure, I'll go out there and say that, sure, maybe some stuff that people claim is alien is demonic in nature. That is believable, but NASA is just not believable. They only got you to believe in it to begin with because they own all the media and they have all the power, so they get to say that you're crazy if you don't believe the things that they shoved on you since birth. But right, none of us have touched an asteroid. All the material they give us looks really dodgy. It's really recent that they've been showing the asteroids, and they look really bad. It doesn't look at all. I mean, it really looks like somebody takes a picture of a flat, sandy location with some rocks and they just wrap it around a 3D model. It doesn't look convincing. Anyways, don't be afraid of asteroids. They're not real. And end times, they're gonna make end times out to be an alien thing. But read your Bible, read the book of Revelation, know what's coming, and yep, that's it. I mean, I want to go back to the Saturn thing. I think it's pretty cool. Mostly why I made this video was to talk about the Saturn thing and to talk about, don't be scared of spook stories in the media. It's fear-based mind control, and there's 0% chance of anybody dying from a meteor because they're fake and gay. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone.